Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You wanna get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you wanna go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm your co-host, Rebecca Ingham.
I'm your other co-host, Shannon Newth.
And together, we're no damn experts. How do you like that for a little
I did
shake
like
up?
it. I liked it. Felt good.
So, folks, longtime listeners, we love you. We think you're amazing. Today is a first. And by that, I mean, Shannon and I prepared for this episode.
Yeah. Yep. We had to, came up with something so you weren't sitting here listening to us try to think for a while.
And I'm pretty excited about it because we're going to do kind of like Oprah releases her favorite things list. So you're going to get Rebecca and Shannon's top 5 greatest experiences in Great Falls. And we're going to take them in order, 1 through 5 with 5. We'll start with 5 because it's not the premiere.
Right.
And then we are going to see where each other land.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious.
So
Also, while you say we prepped, it wasn't that much prep. So
because
there
it's
will
just
be lots of honorable mentions that aren't on this list.
Yes. There is so many. It's just, we bleed Great Falls.
Yeah.
And so it is a little bit
It's
easier.
kinda,
But still putting things in order from 1 to 5.
Right. Or even just the 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, we thought about going to 10, but that would make a longer episode and maybe
And
you don't
longer
want to
prep
listen
time.
to us argue.
Yeah. Yeah.
There could be all of that. So, the
You
way,
can tell us, record yourself telling us your top 5, and we'll include that in another episode.
one day when we have a Facebook group, we can put this up and you could put your
Yes,
own comments
debate.
in and then we could share
I
them.
have so much material for when I start this Facebook page. It's
gonna be amazing.
At some point. How about we'll make that a New Year's goal?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited for
Okay,
that.
perfect.
Look forward to a big launch in January.
No, me too.
So if it works for you, I thought I would just share my top 5, starting with 5.
Okay. Are
And
we going to
then-
go back and forth on 5, or you're just doing all of them?
So I thought I would release my 5 and
Okay.
you tell me if yours is on if that's on your list.
Okay.
And if it is, what number you ranked it on.
Okay. Deal.
And then after I get through my 5, if there's things that
You didn't say?
I didn't put on my list,
Yep. Okay.
then you say the rest of your list.
Fair. Okay.
Okay.
I like it. Okay.
So as I start, I want to take notes on your 5.
Okay.
So I just have to mark up my sheet.
Okay.
So coming in, do we have a drum roll sound effect?
Well,
That
let's
could get
play our,
old.
Let's hold on. Music bed, air horn, applause. We have applause.
No, we'll
Rim-
save applause for
what's
the
rim
number
shot?
1.
No, that doesn't work.
No. Okay.
No.
So we'll start with number 5.
Okay.
Coming in at number 5 for me is Giant Springs State Park.
Oh, okay. So I tell you if it's on my list or not.
First, I'll tell you what it is if you didn't know.
Oh, good point.
Giant Springs State Park, Montana's most visited state park and home to the world's largest natural spring and the world's shortest river right there in the park, all next to North America's longest river and likely the only place left in the world where there is a bridge with no railings.
That's correct. Yeah.
So you have ample opportunity to fall into the Missouri River or the springs. There is a railing across the bridge of the Roe River. So
Yes.
you
They're
you won't
protecting that
fall-
area.
You won't fall into the Roe.
Well, you'd have to try harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my number 5. Did
Okay.
it make your top 5?
It did make my top 5.
What number did you put it at?
I have that as my number 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. I also think that it has the benefit of any time of year you go.
And it's
It's
different.
gorgeous and you have a different experience. And I would argue that going when it's super cold is a magical experience.
It is one of the top performing posts all the time on our
always.
social media.
Yeah.
Is a
People
freezing
love
giant
it.
springs.
Yeah, and you're welcome because I freeze when
Yeah.
I go get that footage.
I mean,
yeah.
the toll it takes on Shannon's body to get those photos,
be out
people.
there.
Like, it's frostbite. Like, we have to pay for emergency room visits for her
I
fingers
should
to
keep
come
that
back.
in mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so on
Okay.
my list, my number one.
So there we go.
Yeah.
You know, shoot. I wanted to start with an honorable mention, then I forgot to.
Well, should we go through the list and then you can do other honorable mentions?
Okay.
Okay.
So my number 4
Mm-hmm.
is really specific. The dugout at the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center.
The dugout.
Yeah. So they've got the big dugout diorama at the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center. I love the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center.
Yeah.
But I love the diorama of that dugout the most at the Interpretive Center as my number 4.
Great.
Let me tell you why it shows up on number 4 for me. And here's the thing, people, you also will never be able to have this experience. I've been to the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center a number of times. I love it. The theater there, the quality of the productions of the movies there, it's absolutely amazing telling that story about the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center.
Yeah.
But I had the honor of hosting a familiarization tour with the Berlin Airlift Veterans Association. And I got to sit next to a World War II pilot talking with me about the diorama. And in the diorama, you've got the members of the Corps of Discovery kind of in tattered clothing. I mean, they've been on the trail for a year at this point? Yeah. So their clothing is torn a bit and they're kind of in shambles, and you can tell the weather's taken a bit of a toll on them, and the journey itself is taking a bit of a toll.
How many moccasins have they gone through at this point?
Right. You know, and there's one guy that barely has a moccasin left and another guy that doesn't have much for pants left. And I'm like, and you look at it and just on the surface, it looks, interesting story. But to sit there next to a World War II veteran who's been on military missions and was part of the Berlin Airlift, for him to share what he sees as who he thinks, based on the men that were there, were causing the biggest problem, and who he thought had the biggest attitude, and who he thought was definitely getting beaten up on an ongoing basis. And I looked at him and I said, because I'm a good student and gone through the history books, I'm like, oh no, it was a military mission. They all just followed orders. And he goes, yeah, I've been on military missions, and that's not
how it goes.
Necessarily the case. So being able to have kind of history shared with you on 2 different planes at the same time while you look at this just static display, but have that kind of internal discussion and dialogue and interpretation of what it was there was really special.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not an experience we can advertise.
No,
in
you
that
won't be able to
regard,
replicate that.
But you can go look at it and imagine Rebecca's conversation.
Yeah, you can.
That's cool.
With this, I'm adding an honorable mention to the Malmstrom Air Force Base Museum because they actually have the Lewis and Clark uniform. They have the history of uniforms at Malmstrom Air Force Base of all the military missions in Great Falls. And it starts with the Lewis and Clark expedition uniform, which is
interesting. I didn't realize
the leather thing. So honorable mention on there for number 4.
Nice. Lewis, well, especially the dugout specifically, but they, that museum would be an honorable mention for me, but I didn't have that in my top 5. That's what we very little prepped them. I'm like, honorable mention because I didn't put it on there.
And I like that. What comes to your mind first? Okay. Well, this is good. So there's at least one thing we're going to get out of Shannon's list that
isn't on yours.
Mine.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Number 3. If you're a longtime listener of the podcast, you know this is going to be on my list.
Something about beer?
No.
Oh.
Well, that's a good guess, though. The Lee Steen exhibit at the Paris Gibson Square Museum of Art.
Yeah.
Folks, if you've not, I think we've dedicated an entire episode to this because it is my one. No, let's be fair. It's my favorite exhibit in Great
You love
Falls.
that. And so much so you've put it on one of our bathroom stall advertisements, if you will, here at the
When
Visitor
you're in
Center.
charge of some things and you just get to do what you want, it's pretty
Put
fun.
stick figure pictures in the bathroom.
So Lee Steen, guy out of Roundup, basically what I imagine, he's cleaning riverbeds around the Muscle Shell and
Which is southern Montana.
Yep, in the southeast area of Montana, and he's just collecting sticks and fence posts and other things he's seen in the riverbed, cleaning it up, and then making art out of it. So creating pictures, and I liken it to when we've all dazed at the clouds and can see certain pictures in the clouds. He's picking up sticks and seeing different people in these sticks and then painting them and adding things and making these people waitresses or lumberjacks and his work is on permanent display at the Paris Gibson Square Museum of Art.
Nice. Also not on my list.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to find out what's on your list.
I feel like you're gonna think mine's boring.
Oh no, it can't
I mean,
be.
it's not
about
boring
Great
because I
Falls.
love it. They're all great things. This is interesting though. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
Okay. So my number 2.
Yeah.
Russell Home at the C.M. Russell Museum Complex.
Yeah.
I am such an old building geek. Like the old architecture or old buildings. Any opportunity that I would have just to walk into somebody else's home and walk around and see what it looks like.
Right.
Like I will tour every mansion possible. I will tour every historic home available on planet Earth. I love that kind of stuff. And if you let me into your commercial building and I get to tour the upstairs and see what stories are being told in my own imagination about what I'm seeing, I love it. And so to be able to go into Charlie and Nancy's home that was actually where they lived.
Yeah.
And to see the attention to detail from the 1900s when this was built, but also the dynamic between public space versus their private space and how modest their private space was and how opulent their public space was.
Yeah.
I love this home. I love it.
It is interesting to reflect on the character and the architecture and things of that time, and to imagine the conversations that were had in that house.
And the amount of hardballing Nancy did on the prices for some of that artwork that she was negotiating. And folks, if you've not had the opportunity, go back and listen to the podcast episode we had with the architect that was involved with the historic restoration and the stories he tells about the wallpaper in that house.
Yeah.
Which is hand stamped to fully recreate what it used to look like.
And that's one of your examples when you tell people what we talk about on the podcast. It's like, well, we even talk about a whole episode on wallpaper. That was before my time here. Yeah.
And here's an insider tip. If you're listening and you really want to get deep into Great Falls, like you're the biggest champion, ask us about the hand-painted wallpaper or hand-printed wallpaper because we got samples. We'll show it to you.
I have not seen samples.
Look at that.
I need to see those samples.
So we've got pieces of the actual wallpaper that's up in Charlie and Nancy's house.
Yeah. Which is a pretty cool little piece of history to have.
Really is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not on my list.
Good Lord. I wonder what's on your list.
Now I'm like, wait, again, in the very short prep time, I'm like, I was debating on like big scale versus more specific detail things. And
hey, it all works.
It does. Get a full list here.
Okay. So I'm going to need the applause button after I release my number 1. Okay.
Okay.
And number 1 on Rebecca's most unique experiences in Great Falls that have to be had, one that I choose not to miss and actually invite my friends to come to. Western Art Week, baby.
Yeah. Oh, it's a long applause.
Well,
There
it's
you
a
go.
big deal. Look at that.
Yeah.
Western Art Week, which is when Great Falls becomes the Western art capital of the world, and the variety of art and the excitement of the artists and the stories you get to learn about the artist. It's just like nothing else. And I apologize because you cannot put the experience into words. You can't.
No. And every time I've had a little bit of a different experience every time I've gone. I mean, it's the same concept, right? You walk around, you check out the massive amounts of art and artists, but I have different conversations. I notice different things every year. I'm drawn to different things. You notice new pieces that are there every time.
Well, and I think what's really interesting to me, because I'm not, let's be real clear, I'm not like a real serious art buyer.
Fancy art connoisseur.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, she knows art.
Right.
No, I don't. But it is interesting to me over the years what pieces end up speaking to you that kind of have you end up with this emotional connection to.
Yeah.
And then how much you hold on to that anger of your husband not letting you get certain pieces at the quick draw. You know, those are memories that you know, core memories that you keep. But over the years, the quality of art we've gotten for our home and the artists we've gotten to meet and the stories we've gotten to hear and the details we get about the art that's being created and why is top notch.
Yeah.
And these are world-class artists.
Oh, yes.
It's not like I took a painting class and I'm trying to sell you my wares.
No, like you got to know what you're doing to get into things like, the Russell auction.
Right.
That's high stakes.
Or be featured in the Out West's quick draw or quick finish.
Which those events are so fun.
Oh
and
my
I've gotten to be
the energy.
Yeah. And Jason and I have gotten to be part of it in helping MC it, which is just fun on a whole other level because you get to annoy the artist the whole time. But it's just such a fun event to watch because you see the artist process playing out right in front of you.
And you get to talk to them while they do it. So, I mean,
yeah,
you could really throw them off. You could be like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to put a rabbit right there? And they'll be like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. You might be able to influence the direction.
Possibly. If you say,
hey,
I'm going to guarantee buy it. Yeah, because they have the auction right after that for them. Yeah, I don't think they'd take that. If I was like, hey, you should put a bunny right there, they probably would not take that unless I'm going to be like, I'll pay you $5,000 to add a bunny to this.
And then I will actually bid on it afterwards. You know, there's always that caveat.
Right.
So
right.
Did Western Art Week make your list?
Of course, Western Art Week made my list. Yes.
What number did Western Art Week make for you?
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. So,
yeah. You know what? I'm gonna.
Do you think there's anything on my list where you're like, shouldn't have made it?
No, I love all of those. I think they're great. I think they're great. The one I'm surprised, and I'm more curious if this was an honorable mention for you. It's not on my list, which is why I'm bringing it up. Mimosa Showdown.
Oh, didn't even consider it.
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to lead with the honorable mention, because I had it at 4, and I'm like,
okay.
My honorable mention that I wanted to lead with was the Luminaria Walk for the River's Edge Trail.
That is a really fun experience.
I love the trail. I mean, there's different portions of the trail that I love more than others.
Yeah.
But the opportunity to experience the trail during the Luminaria Walk is really an experience that enhances your love for the trail,
Absolutely.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it's not like there's lit bags along the trail all the time.
Oh, right. No.
And I think maybe it also stems from it was one of the first activities when I lived in Great Falls that I got to participate in. And it was in a different spot at that time. But, you know, you got an entire trail along the river that's lit up with these beautiful white bags that have decorations on them and the candles inside glowing. And then as you walk, there's local artists playing along the trail. So you've got kind of this Hallmark narrative happening. And I love the Luminaria walk on the River's Edge Trail. So that was my honorable mention that I was going to lead with. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll just make us start the podcast episode over. And then I'm like, no, that's silly.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah.
I like that. And it's been fun to see how many people come out to enjoy the trail that evening.
It is. And I mean, if you don't already love the trail, you're silly.
It. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a unique experience to enhance your love of the trail.
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm turning the tables.
Are you ready?
Shannon, start at your number 5.
You have my 1 and my 3, but I got to fill in the rest.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 5 is the Christmas stroll.
Oh, that's a good one.
Well, especially because it's coming up, so it's on my mind. But I'm actually sad. Well, I'm sad because this is one of my very favorite events of the year, and we're going to miss it this year.
That's how you know you like it. Is like, oh man, I'm gonna miss it.
I'm like, I wish I could. So. I wish I could bump our trip back a couple days just so I could like go to the Christmas stroll. But the funny thing is the theme for both the Parade of Lights and the Christmas stroll is like a Hawaiian, like a luau theme. Yep. And I will be in Hawaii during the Christmas stroll. So I'll just continue that theme this year. But
you're just taking that theme to another level, I guess.
That's right. But yeah, it's one of my very favorites. I love that the tree is already lit up, the downtown, which they just put up yesterday, our city Christmas tree, which is donated by a local family. They light it at the Parade of Lights, which I'm going to say Parade of Lights is honorable mention.
Yeah, that's true.
They light it at the Parade of Lights.
Not just they. Santa.
I'm sorry. Specifically Santa and his magic dust
lights the tree.
Lights it at the end of the 40 plus floats.
Yep. And Parade of Lights is always the Saturday.
Small Business Saturday.
Nope, it's Friday night. After Thanksgiving. Nope, that's a lie.
Christmas stroll is Friday night. Parade of Lights is Saturday night.
Oh, they're the same week this year?
No, I just mean Parade of Lights is always Saturday. Christmas stroll is always a Friday night.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Because it's on Small Business Saturday. So the Saturday following Thanksgiving. I'm 99% sure of this.
It doesn't matter. You need to look at our website.
It's on the 30th and the Thanksgiving is the 28th. So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but they do Parade of Lights, and then less than a week later, you have the Christmas stroll, which is, I love it. Again, the Christmas tree is lit. They have all of downtown is kind of open, like all the shops stay open late. They have delicious treats and food trucks. The firefighters, Great Falls Fire Rescue, has their infamous peppers.
I was going to ask.
That's what Jason is most sad about. We tried them for the first time last year, and he loved them.
So I did something similar. It must have been 2 years ago. It was that really frigid hot Christmas stroll.
Yeah.
And we went out, and I got a pepper for the first time, and it was because it was so frigid.
Yeah.
There wasn't the long line that there usually is, so I was able to get up there and get one. It's a not miss experience.
No,
you can only
delicious.
get that pepper during the Christmas stroll.
You know how you
one time a year
give that story of how you tried to make said how much money can I pay you to make a beer? Season. Jason has the same thing with how can we get more of these peppers available throughout the year because he just loves them. So pro tip, get there early so you can get in line and get a pepper right away.
Because they do sell out.
They do sell out and the line's usually long, but it's worth it.
100%.
They have the polar plunge during this time if you want to see people jump in cold water while it's cold outside. There's just a lot of fun things. There's music. It's just the community really turns out for this event. There's, hot chocolate, caroling. It's just really, really a fun time. You can slip into the city
bar and get your Tom and Jerry.
That's when it's kind of kickoff season for the Tom and Jerry. Yeah.
And we've said on this podcast, it is a staple to do during the Christmas stroll. Mm-hmm. But the best time to drink a Tom and Jerry is not during the Christmas stroll.
Because it's super busy then.
Yep. Yeah. But your choice. It's really sacrilege not to have a Tom and Jerry during the Christmas stroll.
Yeah. This is now part of our routine too.
Pepper, Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry's. Yes. It's been a developing routine for us, but yeah.
And stores are open, so you can do some shopping.
Yep.
Dip in and out to always get that. I think the other thing I love about Christmas stroll is the music that's played in the basement of the Times Square.
Oh yeah,
they've got the tubas and
symphony or the community band. Yep.
And so I love that component. I hope it stays. I know that building is just sold.
Yeah.
So I hope it continues to be a cornerstone to that.
Yeah.
So.
Very fun night.
Good one.
Yeah. And sometimes there'll be special guests, like the Wild Hare has had the tipsy bartender there in the past serving a special drink. So there's always there's something special there every year. So, and that is coming up the first weekend in December.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It's off to a solid start, Shannon, with your number 5.
Thank you. Yeah. So my number 5. Okay. Number 4. Thank you. I know. It's like, there's probably drum roll in here. I'll have to look. This is very maybe cliche for residents, but it has to be on the list. You got to go drink a fishbowl and watch the mermaids at the Sip and Dip. That is the quintessential. That's the question people ask. Like when you say like, "Oh, I was in Great Falls." Oh, did you see the mermaids?
Sip and Dip, yeah.
So that's it. That's where any performers who come through Newberry Fair, movie producers, they all have to go. You have to be at the Sip and Dip.
I almost feel bad now that it wasn't on my list.
It feels weird for residents because it's just kind of like
Right.
people here are like, yeah, okay, but it's the Great Falls thing.
Well, and I love that it's just part of that boutique experience.
Yeah.
And the mermaids have great personality. The other thing about it is we love Joel Corda. I mean, he sings us in, he sings us
Joel's
out.
fantastic.
And he just gets the crowd going. Upcoming there is they do their Santa sing-along.
Oh, that's right.
The Christmas sing-along event.
Yes.
We went to that. It's pretty.
Did you?
It's such a fun time. You get your own little jingle bells to shake. So
Fun.
it's definitely a unique experience and an icon for our community.
Yeah. There's also, they do the mermaid brunches every other Sunday as well. So
That's a good
Yeah.
thing too.
yeah. So Sip and Dip, that's my number 4.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
And your 3 was
My 3
Western
was
Art?
Western Art Week.
Okay.
So 2 is
We could do your applause for 2 because we've already
because we
said
already
your
did
1.
my 1. Okay,
Yep.
fair. Okay. So my number 2
2
is Ryan Dam. Oh. There. Oh, I got both. Okay. Just kind of want to jam out to this for a while. Here, we'll do a slow fade.
So if you ever thought that we knew what we were doing, we have no clue.
That was a happy
exciting.
accident,
That
as
was
Bob
exciting.
Ross would say. I liked that. Okay. Well, it's still kind of playing. I could keep this going a little bit in the background. So my number 2, Ryan Dam and Ryan Island. And I say that because this is, again, what we're named after.
Yeah.
It's part of the falls, but it's my favorite because it's the largest. And also the experience, every time I go out on Ryan Island, I'm always just amazed at how beautiful, unique the landscape is there, especially you just drive a few minutes out of Great Falls and you're down in kind of the River Canyon. Walking across the bridge makes me feel like I'm in Jurassic Park for a minute. And you see the different eras of history there with the Lewis and Clark journey and then also the power. And June, obviously, early June, best time to go. But that's one of my favorite, like I never tire every time I go out there of seeing it.
And I think for me, you're still in Great Falls. It's a half-hour drive out of town, but like going there transports you to, like it just takes your cares away. Like I don't know, it just lightens my mood. I love the environment out there. The other thing that I really love is it's just so idyllic. There's so much to see. There's just so much to decompress and I love like you're in the middle of the canyon and you've got the water roaring and you've got like this exclusive access because you do have to go over a suspension bridge. And
it feels very private. And also you don't have service there. So you're really just there. You're in the moment.
Yeah, June, best time to go.
I also like the view when you're walking across the suspension bridge. To the right is where you see the powerhouse and the falls. But one of my favorite views is actually to the left off of that bridge, especially depending on the time of day with the sun hitting it. It's just these really rugged but kind of multi-tone colored cliffs and rocks. Yeah.
So it's so funny because when I get on the island, I actually go left first.
Yeah.
Like I don't go to the falls first.
Yeah.
I go and see the river coming around the island and forming back up and heading out of the stage, you know, because it's heading away from us.
Yeah.
It's so pretty and you feel so small and insignificant. And you just, the other thing that's there that isn't as pronounced as the geology of what formed that is really impressive and cool. So there's just a lot of, I don't know, you get to reconnect with yourself and with the beauty of nature and
also think about how weak you are, because I'm like, they lugged the Lewis and Clark expedition, lugged the boats all around these. Again, they're weary at this point.
The other thing that I just thought of is, at what point in that journey do you get, like, when do you realize you got to pull your boat out?
Right.
Because, like, you're going to get close enough and you're going to be like, oh, crap. And then
but the cliffs,
canyon walls are so high.
Right.
And you're like, we're going to have to go
back. Ways. Yeah.
Like, we can't.
And then to discover, oh, hey, there's 4 more.
Yep.
This is, you're not done. Oh, and there's going to be a grizzly that tries to attack you up there too. Oh, and Sakagawea is sick. And
Nobody warned you about the grizzly. They did warn you about the falls. So you knew at some point you were going to encounter them. Yeah. You didn't expect your guide was going to be sick as a dog and nearly on death's door. So
a lot of surprises there.
Big surprise.
And if you come on, I believe it's June 18th is when, according to their diaries, they saw the falls. So you could come and relive that day specifically.
Yeah, June 18th is the day to always be at the falls. The other thing that's really interesting as we kind of contemplate the Lewis and Clark overlay of the Great Falls is when you get to the left end, and my dad, if he was still around, would love me saying this, because he's always like, well, what direction is that? I'm like, Dad, it's to the left.
Because there's really one way to walk up there. Yeah.
You're on the island. We're going left.
Yeah.
You look at that bend, how it just kind of goes off into the distance and you can't really see around it. So really the falls are a bit of a shock if you're coming that direction, because that's the way they came in. And all of a sudden they come around that corner and they're like,
they heard it, but
crap.
Then,
like when are we going to hit it?
What do we do here? Yeah.
And then you come around the corner and you're like, oh, there it is.
Yep. I think it's also in a very, not as exaggerated way when you're driving out there. I think it's a similar thing, because it's just because you don't really drop down until you're a couple miles, if that, from it. So you're just looking, you see massive prairie and farmland. I mean, there's a ranch house at the turn. So you're like, where are these falls?
And why it's so unassuming.
It is. And it
feels like you've been led to your death.
Right.
Honestly.
Like, why am I out here?
Now I'm going to take a right, and now I'm going to start going into this little canyon. And I'm like, yep, it's all good.
Yep. And that's why I always tell people, like, okay, landscape's going to start to change here. You're in the right spot.
It's all right. Keep going.
Yeah. So that's my number 1 or my number 2. Yeah.
That's a good list.
I feel like we have, what did we end up with? 8 total between the 2 of us?
10, 8.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are good.
That's pretty good.
And
I had
mentions.
2 honorable mentions. And you had your honorable mention from Mimosa Showdown.
Well, I just thought that would be one of yours. I'm going to say this is I'm going to say an honorable mention here, and I'm kind of offering his services here, but I don't think he'll mind. Go into Kaufman's Menswear, which is 130 years old. Ask Brian if you can see the basement. Have him take you down to the basement. Just a separate
little tour.
Yes. Right on that old elevator. Go to the basement, because you're going to see the structure of the building, which was meant to withstand war. You're going to see crackers you're just going to see the evolution of time in downtown Great Falls.
And folks, if you're like, Shannon, this isn't real. No, listen to our podcast episode with Brian. And honestly, just getting to meet Brian Kaufman might be an honorable mention.
Absolutely.
We've got quite a few small business owners in town, which would just be honorable mentions to get that opportunity.
And Brian will give you beer in his store from Mighty Mo across the street. Yeah. I don't know if we're supposed to tell that or not.
Probably not.
No, so go across the street and get Mighty Mo. That's what I said.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said.
So that's a thing. And if the brothel tours ever become a thing again,
I will say, if you want an elevated experience for your wedding and you're getting fitted for tuxes and you want to have that bro experience of saying yes to the tux, you can have that in Great Falls, and it's going to be top notch. And you could ask Brian for the exclusive.
That's right.
Say yes to the tux experience. And that would include beer.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. That was one of my honorable mentions.
Any other honorable mentions that you had?
There's a lot. There's so many.
So, folks, here's where you need to engage with us. Share with us your honorable mentions, or
if you're
bold
with
enough,
ours.
give us your top 5
Yeah.
in order. 5 being the least, 1 being the most of the not miss experiences of Great Falls.
That's right.
We'd
We may
love to
even
have
hook
your
you up with
feedback,
some Great
and
Falls
we'd love to
prizes.
share them because,
Absolutely.
hey, if we didn't say it already, we're no damn experts.
Yeah.
This is just our opinion. And clearly, when we started sharing our lists, we could see, oh, crap, I didn't
forgot
put that
that.
on
Yeah.
my list. And it's hard to pick just 5.
It really is.
So.
Yeah, I'm thinking of more as we're sitting here. Like, oh, shoot. Yeah.
Well, folks, we can't wait to hear your
Yes,
top 5.
please.
And since we don't have our Facebook page yet, you can just email Carol information at visitgreatfalls.org.
Put it on our Visit Great Falls Facebook page.
You could.
Just not our podcast page.
You could do that. You could DM us. You could send us that email. If you're super old school, you could call us and you could just say, hey, Carol, I want to give you my top 5 experiences. And then she'll go, okay.
Yeah.
And we won't
try to warn her.
We won't tell her at all what's going on.
But she will love it.
She'll enjoy it. She'll have a great conversation. And you can do that by calling 406-761-4436. All the old ways. You want to mail it in?
Do it.
15
Please
Overlook
do.
Drive,
Yeah.
Great Falls, Montana, 59405. We would love to know what you think. We'd love to know what your top 5 are.
Yeah.
Include your honorable mentions.
Yeah. I'd love to hear the ones that we haven't said or maybe are kind of somebody's unique itinerary.
Or hidden. Well, and I'm just thinking the other one that we didn't talk about, which I really do love, is Annie's Tap House and like the history exhibit experience that goes with drinking a beer. We already know I'm a super fan of that. As in the 13th museum. They're not a museum yet, but you can get a similar.
And coming, I'm going to say at some point, you'll be able to, they're going to add artifacts that'll make it even more of a museum in there.
Might have to lead the effort for the 14th museum.
There you go.
Well, folks, we hope you've enjoyed it. We hope it spurred some interest, and we hope you're going to give us your top 5. We would love to be able to devote an entire episode to other people's top 5.
Yeah. That would be so fun.
It would be just to hear what you guys think. And we really love that you're listening. We hope you're out having a great time in Great Falls, of course. But if you're not, we do hope you're creating amazing memories with your friends and family wherever you might be. We'll see you soon.
We Are No Damn Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town.